start, kind of introduce yourself and what your company and what y'all's vision is, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first, thanks so much for having me, and it's really a pleasure to be here. What you guys are doing is great. Just to introduce myself. So my name is Errol, and my background is as a software developer and product person. I've been building tech for businesses for the last 20 years, the last eight of which have been at Cedar, really building healthcare financial technology products for healthcare providers of all different sizes.
Mhm.
So we work with some of the largest, healthcare providers, physician groups in the country, and more recently, dental and orthodontic groups as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm happy to talk about it today.
Yeah, this has been a huge thing, and as you
Yeah.
know, being in it for 8 years and all the development stuff, what are the biggest changes you've seen in, people wanting convenience, communication, streamlining that process? Because we always talk about healthcare and cost, whether that be dentistry, whether that be
Yeah.
going to your other practitioners. It's always a point of contention. How have y'all kind of cornered that market, or how have you
Yeah.
dealt with it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think convenience is really key here. So the financial aspect of healthcare in the US is incredibly complex,
Mhm.
right? And that's whether you're going to, general practitioner or doctor or a dentist or orthodontist, it's always a complicated conversation. And finances always come up
Mhm.
when you're discussing treatment options. So what we see when we work with practices and large physician groups is um, there's a lot of complexity when you have those conversations and discuss what something is going to cost with the patient. And so, what we do is we build products to help have those conversations better and offer more flexible payments, but have those conversations in a way that feels like you're a partner with the patient. Make it as convenient as possible.
Mhm.
Offer as flexible of options as possible, so you can get someone started right away on their treatment. Somebody wants more time to think about it. How do you actually follow up and re-engage them? Offer them tools so they can share with their family. Many people need to have those conversations.
Oh yeah.
And these are, especially in the ortho space, like it's not cheap
No.
to get braces. And so these are bigger financial decisions that people need to make. And
Yeah.
so we believe in giving doctors the best possible tools to have those conversations with their patients.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I think y'all popped up on our radar for a reason. I mean, we have continually tried to make it very patient centric, like you said, just to go back to orthodontics because that's what I know.
Yeah.
But it could be any medical procedure or, just doctor visits, that type of stuff. It is a budget thing. And so the cool thing with orthodontics is we do have that ability to have those customized treatment plans, but it's the communication to the parent, it's communication to, like you said, the mom and dad conversation is real important. Dad brings the kid and, needs to talk to mom and vice versa, to make that big decision and being able to communicate and show them exactly how to break that down. Is that kind of what y'all seen in the orthodontic trends, or what have you seen in the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
industry
I
type
think
business?
in the orthodontic space, what we see generally is that it's sort of an industry in flux a little bit. So, aligners are a relatively new thing, and I think that to some degree is like empowered, dentists, GPs to offer some aspects of orthodontic care directly to their patients. And so everyone feels like there's this pressure to drive more patients into door, more case starts.
Mhm.
And there's been, I think, an emphasis on convenience and getting patients to make especially same day decisions, make as easy as possible just to get started, right? A big part of that is like, how do you make it easily financially as well for someone to get started? And I think what we see is that it's still really a big challenge getting someone to start the same day, for something that's going to cost multiple thousands of dollars, is a tough decision. So, having navigating those conversations in the right way is really, really important. We also see, this trend where more patients are taking time to think about things. I don't know if you see that as well, or it's more a
Mhm.
recent thing, but
Yeah.
people like to shop. I think consumers are just getting more sophisticated,
Hmm.
um, taking a little more time to think about things. And so it's not just how you have the conversation with someone in the office, it's like how you follow up with them.
Right.
And then, also I think one of the unique things about the orthodontic space is that, once a case is started, that's a start of a really long relationship with the patient. They're in care for over a year.
Hmm.
And, over the course of their treatment, you're going to be collecting money from them, having, financial conversations. And that's often an overlooked part. Like, how do you actually maintain that healthy conversation relationship with them throughout the entire course of their
Yeah.
treatment? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. That can be super important, especially in orthodontics. It's always fun to get started. So, the techniques to get them started is one thing. Like, we need to take barriers down out of the way, but it's that communication along the way. We've seen where customer service on our end has dropped and is difficult because you are on a payment plan. Cards change,
Yeah.
situations change. Do y'all deal with that a lot? Do y'all see?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's sort of where we try and be helpful the most. What we generally see is, practices really struggle with it. It's a hard problem, first of all, because if someone's in care for 18 months, their credit card is probably going to expire at some
Right.
point. You're going to have to make sure that you follow up with them. And what we tend to see is that practices are often kind of trying to do it themselves. So we've seen practices like using spreadsheets and
Yeah.
to kind of track, like, who they should be following up with. A lot of practice managers who are texting patients and all that. And that's all fine and good, but it's a lot of work and
Yeah.
things tend to fall through the cracks. I think there's also like an opposite extreme of that where we've seen practices like basically hire call centers. They're kind of some point solution products out there in the market. And so
Mhm.
there's like one size fits all, like we're just gonna kind of have somebody that the patient doesn't know kind of call them up out of the blue
Right.
and they owe money or something. And so we think there's kind of something in the middle that makes sense. It's a little more like patient friendly and empowers the office
Yeah.
staff to really communicate more efficiently.
Now I know your company works with, all the way up to hospitals
Yeah.
to private practices and stuff like that. Do you see a big difference in how you tackle those, or is it kind of the same concept? It just is scaled in one way and then smaller in other ways. Like I'm sure that's got to be a big thing to tackle. Like you go into Novant and
Yeah.
it's Novant, you go into a
Yeah.
dental office and it's a dental office, right?
Yeah. I guess Novant is in your neck of the woods.
Right. Yep.
Big,
Yep.
big hospital system. Yeah, it's a great question. Working with hospital systems that have just thousands of patient visits a day, all the way down to small practices that might have a dozen or so patients a day.
Hmm.
Drastically different problem. And I would say at the kind of mega scale, you care a lot more about like process. Like you have everything has to be extremely consistent, like extremely well measured. A small practice, that just doesn't make sense, right? You
Right.
want actually like much more of a personal touch and
Hmm.
direct relationships with your patients. But I think at the same time, you also just want like the tools that are going to make it easy. Like
Yeah.
no one wants to be like, calling up patients to ask them to pay money or having tricky, financial conversations with patients. And not a way that you aren't really equipped to have that conversation. So um, we see it's drastically different.
Hmm.
Personally, I think it's a lot more fun working with small practices
Yeah. Yeah.
because
No.
there's a lot more kind of like creative uses of different ways of solving the problems, I guess, different ways like that we see kind of people using the products and stuff, which is a lot more fun for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in terms of like the products you offer, what do y'all see that y'all bring the most value to, I know it's different. Like again, we're talking about two different big
Yeah.
things. Just using orthodontics because I'm an orthodontist. What kind of processes and the orthodontic company wants to give, or we do, our patients the best chance of being able to get, really good quality orthodontics, but now at an affordable price. We
Yep.
feel like the world's going to, you know, I mean, you look at everything and they can do Afterpay. Some of those other,
Yep.
you can get your financial groceries if you need to. So everyone's kind of used to these payment plans. Where do you all come in and not only make it where we have the ability to offer our patients that, but make the patients comfortable all the way through? Because, like you said, the communication is huge. Sometimes credit card's gone and our process, they might go 3 months without a payment. And then we're like, hey, you owe $700.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
monthly payment was like 170. And they're like, well, I don't have $700, you know? And, we don't want to do that to our patients. Our patients
Oh,
don't want
yeah.
that. I'm sure
Yeah.
y'all have
Bucket for everyone. Yeah.
good techniques for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. So what we do really is two things. One is we give staff, so treatment coordinators typically, tools that they can use to have conversations about treatment options and what the costs are going to be in a way that really makes it feel sort of like a working together
Yeah.
process with the patient. It's a friendly conversation. I think it's always kind of this friction point uncomfortable. So we want to make it as easy as possible. And the second thing is that once a case is actually started, we manage the sort of any financial outreach that needs to happen throughout
Mhm.
that. So we manage the payment plan and allow you to kind of offer self-finance, super flexible payment plans that meet the terms of the patient, what's going to get them started. But
Mhm.
then we do all the kind of follow-up. So if credit card expires, we'll handle that. We're really, really good at that sort of outreach. All of it's driven by our technology that we've built, technology that kind of personalizes all of the outreach. And it's been battle tested over the
Right.
last 8 years with some of the largest healthcare providers in the country. But we do it in a way that really offers, I think, a good outcome that also maintains a healthy relationship with the patients. So it's not going to drive patients away. Hopefully, it attracts more patients.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's our goal has been like, hey, with the financing was so easy over at BWC Orthodontics and the process was super easy,
yeah,
whereas now sometimes it's a little clunky. So I think a service like y'all's, we're good at the orthodontics. We're not good at being banks. So, we try to say, hey, if we can concentrate on the
yeah,
patient care versus having to do that side of it, but also give our patients the best ability and the best chance of being able to get that treatment that they need. So I think
yeah, yeah. That
uh,
makes so much sense. I couldn't have said it better myself.
yeah. Yeah. I assume that's what y'all
Yeah,
seeing. Now, in terms of the future, do you see anything like on the horizon of this, or is this kind of y'all are in it now? I know you've been doing this for a while, so you probably, like you said, been beat up a few times and
yeah,
know where consumers want to be and
yep.
kind of where they're going and what they're expecting.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, first, we're relatively new to the, orthodontics and
Mhm.
dental spaces. Our background is in more traditional healthcare, working with physician groups and hospitals. So, really, kind of the last 6 months, we started to work with our first set of orthodontists and
Mhm.
dental groups, and it's been fantastic. Just learning about the space. Honestly, there's a lot that like traditional healthcare can learn from dentists and orthodontists. I think vice versa.
Yeah.
So we're super excited just to bring what we've learned to the space and also learn more and incorporate that into our products. But yeah, I think what we see just generally as an industry ahead is that the financial aspect of care is always going to be so important. It's so integral to anything, where the patient is spending a lot of money out of pocket. And we see just a lot of room to innovate and like do really cool stuff, especially around how treatment options are presented.
Right.
Much
Yeah.
better ways to have a much healthier conversation with patients. Hopefully, get more cases started, get more referral business because people
Mhm.
have good experiences.
So I assume the goal too and the pitch would be it also can bring some organic growth, right? If people have that good experience coming through on
Exactly.
that financial side, Is that kind of, yeah, I would assume that would be something that would happen if that's the case.
Exactly. Yeah. We're still kind of seeing how it works, but so far so good. And what we're seeing is not only, does this actually result in more case starts, but I think patients are actually happier and more likely to refer business, which actually gets you more case starts. For everyone who has like a bad financial experience,
Yeah.
that's actually, they're unlikely, the parent, they have probably have multiple kids and, their other kids might not go to you. And then
Right.
they might also write a bad review or something.
Yeah.
So, you never want that outcome. That's not good for anyone.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
no,
that's what we
that's
hope
very
to
good.
fix.
We've also seen you know, the big inflection point in orthodontics now is, it's always been, we'll give you a payment plan, but you got to get those braces off. You
Yeah.
got to pay it off before you get your braces off, which is almost like holding someone in braces jail. So at
Yeah.
BWC, we don't really believe in that, but we do want a fair shot at it. So we've been extending payment options up to 30, 36 months to get those payments
Yeah.
into the 150s, 140s to
Yeah.
allow affordability. Do you think that's a good move? Do y'all have a way to kind of manage that, or is it, hey, let's try to shorten this up and get
Yeah.
it?
Really, really good question.
Yeah.
And it's a complicated answer because it's
Mhm.
not actually binary. What we
Yeah.
see is that it makes it completely makes sense to do that in certain cases.
Hmm.
And it probably doesn't make sense to do it in other cases. And there are different aspects of that, like what type of care is this? Like what's the duration of care? What is just the past history of a specific practice, a specific location, and do patients tend to pay on time, and things like that. So what we try and do is, we don't assume anything. We actually try to run a bunch of experiments. We have a large data science team here.
Hmm.
And one of the things we do is like we actually test different strategies, like what actually is the optimal point, optimal monthly price point that's going to result in, the most case starts, but also, not result in a bunch of people not being able to afford their bills,
Right.
paying
Get
their
in over
bills.
their head.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think also, it's about how you manage that relationship
Mhm.
over the duration of treatment. So if you're extending someone a payment plan over 36 months, it's a long time.
Yeah.
A lot can happen. Somebody can lose their job. You're going to have certain times of year where people might just need more cash for other things like
Right.
holidays. So offering patients sort of more flexibility
Mhm.
throughout the course of that, like maybe it's like the holidays, can you just pause
Mhm.
your monthly payment for a month or two?
Well, that's
Um, that actually results in a better outcome for everyone we've
yeah.
seen. So things like that can work really, really well.
Yeah, and that would be great to have the ability, y'all's ability to do that because for us
Yeah.
it's so complicated because we're trying to do the orthodontic side. Last question in terms of those extended payments. Um, you know, some people just care about a monthly payment. So those 36 months, there's some interest on that. Do you find that, people are wanting to pay it off quicker so they don't have to pay interest, or is it just like you said, non-binary there where it's people are all over the map in terms
Yeah,
of
good, good,
yeah.
good question. And again, a complicated answer.
Yeah.
Um, what we generally believe is if you're offering self-finance plans as a practice, you should really offer it without interest.
Yeah.
It might be at a slightly higher cost.
Yeah.
So if you want, if you're willing to pay everything up front, then it's fair that someone should get a discount
Yeah.
for that. But if you're paying it over time,
Mm.
make it as easy and simple as possible for the patient. And don't don't pull an interest into the conversation.
Yeah.
Really only do that as a last resort. I think another thing that we've just found is like make it as simple as possible with as few options.
Mm.
There's a lot of like one thing we see is like a sort of a common um, belief, I would say, especially in the ortho space, is like you should offer tons of flexibility, sliders, like uh, and that can be good in some cases, but it can actually really confuse
Yeah.
certain patients, and you need to be careful with that. We found that offering fewer options can actually, really make a difference.
We've definitely made that mistake where we get so excited about huge flexibility and we end up just confusing the person and they're walking out being like, well, I can do that, but I can also do this, I can do that. Where most people want to be like, hey, here's A, B, and C. They're flexible, but let's make a decision. And that's kind of the direction we're going. And we do believe in the no interest too. That just kind of complicates it and then looks at it. So that's good to hear that that's kind of the basis going on.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, certainly an intriguing space. Ortho and orthodontics are, really unique, and that, the price point's really high. There's, practices offer these long-term, really, really long-term payment plans. And it's certainly not an easy thing to manage.
Yeah, yeah. But but yeah, I'm sure that's been an exciting space to get in. I know that us dental guys need a lot of help. So having a company like yours that's been, beat up by some of the big guys and kind of figured out what the customer needs. I love the fact that you were just saying that y'all do a lot of like test studies and compare stuff and then be able to bring that data. We're real big on data-driven stuff, like because
Exactly.
we can
Yeah.
get real opinionated about what we think
Yeah.
or easily. And
Yeah.
so that's really cool to bring some data to the table. Well, I don't want to keep it too long. I know I told you it'd only be about 10, 15 minutes. So y'all get back to your busy day, but I really appreciate it. This is some interesting stuff. I could go and ask you questions for hours,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if you just want to tell the audience, where to find you, the best way to get in contact with you all, or any information you want to give.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can reach us at cedar.com. Cedar, like the tree, CEDAR.com. And, there's a form on the site if you want to get in touch with us. Love to chat with you. And yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I love chatting about this stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Errol. Have a great day, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smiles Ahead podcast powered by Burrow, Welchel, and Culp Orthodontics. Be sure to leave a rating, hit that subscribe button, and if you have more questions, you can reach out to me directly at sam@bwcortho.com. That's sam@bwcortho.com. You can also visit our website, bwcortho.com, and we will be happy to answer any questions you might have.